welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be laser focused on a really fascinating piece of analysis, the AI Ascent 2025 keynote from Sequoia Capital.
Yeah, we've got the transcript right here.
We do. And our mission, basically, is to cut through the noise, pull out the vital insights about where AI is now, where it's heading, specifically looking at the opportunities and, yeah, the hurdles, too, for innovation and adoption.
We're going to unpack their whole framework, their take on current trends, their predictions.
Exactly. The goal is really to give you a much clearer, more informed picture of what actually matters in this whole AI revolution. This is coming from, a top VC firm's perspective.
And what grabs you right away is how Sequoia frames it. It's not just what is AI, that's table stakes now.
You're right. Yeah.
Why does it matter, and why now? Their first thought, apparently, was that AI would mainly disrupt services, kind of like the cloud did.
Okay.
But their views really broadened out now. They think AI's reach is much wider. It's going after both software and services. That could unlock just a massive market opportunity.
Okay, let's really dig into that, though, because that shift from just making software better to actually changing how services get delivered, that's huge.
It means businesses have to rethink everything, their core value.
Are you selling a tool, or are you selling an outcome? And how does AI flip that script? It's not just fighting for the software budget anymore.
Exactly. Now you're potentially impacting the labor budget, too. That's a much bigger playing field.
Which leads right into their point about speed, right? And inevitability.
Totally. They argue the building blocks, they're already here. Compute, networks, data, talent.
Right.
It's all in place.
And unlike, say, the early cloud days where you needed this long awareness campaign.
Right, years of explaining.
AI didn't need that, especially post-ChatGPT, November 2022. Boom, global phenomenon almost overnight.
Yeah, no long, slow burn to convince people. And you've got this massive existing user base on Reddit, X, everywhere online, basically near universal internet access.
So the barriers to adoption, almost zero. That fundamentally changes how new technology spreads, doesn't it?
It really does. Sequoia talks about the rails being built already. Usually, you launch the tech, then build the infrastructure, then get users.
Here, the moment the starting gun fired, the track was clear.
Exactly.
So, given this speed, this potential, where should people focus? Where do you play to win?
Well, Sequoia points out that historically in these big tech shifts, it's the application layer. The stuff end users actually touch. That's where most of the billion-dollar companies pop up.
But there's a twist here, isn't there? With these foundation models getting so much better.
That's the really interesting tension. Yeah. While the app layer is usually prime real estate for value, these models with better reasoning, using tools they can reach much deeper into the applications now.
Okay, so if you're a startup and you're not building those giant foundation models, what's the advice?
Specialize. Go deep. Focus on vertical-specific, function-specific solutions. Tackle the complex stuff, the messy problems that maybe still need a human in the loop.
Don't try to boil the ocean. Find your niche where AI gives a clear win.
And this lines up perfectly with their point about fundamentals. They basically say, look, 95% of building a great AI company, it's the same as building any great company.
Solve a big problem uniquely, get great people.
Right. That's the core, the AI-specific 5%. That's where things like understanding the journey from idea to customer, what they call the Leon merchandising cycle, come in.
And the differentiators there for AI, offering end-to-end solutions. Building that data flywheel from your own product usage.
That proprietary data, yeah.
And really, truly understanding the industry you're in. Being, as they put it, of the industry, for the industry.
And that data flywheel idea, it's crucial, but only if it actually does something.
Right. It has to move a key business metric.
If you can't say, our data makes X better, which leads to Y result, then, well, it's not really a flywheel, is it? It's just data.
So how do we measure success then? Sequoia flags 3 key things to watch. First, this idea of revenue vibe versus real sticky revenue.
Yeah, this is important. Big headline numbers can look great.
But do they actually mean people are adopting it, using it regularly, sticking around? Is it changing behavior for the long haul?
That's the litmus test. Are they integrating it, getting ongoing value, and that underlying customer vibe, that trust, that satisfaction, that's maybe even more critical right now while things are still so early.
Okay, second metric, budgets.
Right. And their advice is Don't obsess over today's gross margins. Why? Because the underlying costs, like compute costs per token,
Likely going down.
probably. Plus, if you can move from selling a tool to selling an outcome,
You get more pricing power, margins should improve.
exactly. It points towards potentially really healthy operating leverage down the road for the winners.
And the third metric loops back to the data flywheel.
Yep. Is it working? Is it measurably improving things? Not just collecting dust.
Got it. And all this is happening, Sequoia says, against this backdrop of, what do they call it? A tremendous sucking sound.
Aha, yeah, vivid phrasing. Basically, massive immediate demand for AI solutions. And it seems weirdly resistant to all the macro uncertainty out there.
That's a powerful image. It screams urgency, doesn't it?
It does. The message is, strategy's great, metrics are great, but you gotta move fast. Nature abhors a vacuum, right? The opportunity is now.
Which fits with their look back at the last year or so, 2023 to 2024, how customer adoption changed.
Yeah, they saw a real evolution, some early AI apps.
Yeah.
Lots of hype, lots of initial signups.
But the actual daily or monthly usage ratios, not always great. People were kicking the tires.
Exactly. Curiosity more than deep integration. But they point to ChatGPT's engagement now. It's climbing towards levels like Reddit. That's significant.
That signals it's moving beyond novelty, beyond just gibifying everything, into real daily value.
We're seeing real breakthroughs, too, like in advertising better copy, education, visualizing concepts, healthcare tools like open evidence for diagnostics.
And they specifically called out voice, didn't they? 2024 is her moment.
Oh, yeah. AI voice finally crossing that uncanny valley, sounding much more natural.
And coding seems to be a huge breakout category.
Definitely. AI coding tools hitting real product market fit, changing how software gets made faster, cheaper, more accessible, even for people who aren't, hardcore coders.
Like their example of someone vibe coding, a DocSend alternative. Amazing.
On the tech side itself, they noted maybe a bit of a slowdown in just raw pre-training scale-up, picking the low-hanging fruit, perhaps?
But big leaps in other areas.
Absolutely. Reasoning, synthetic data, getting AI to use tools effectively, this AI scaffolding idea, it's all making AI much more capable, more versatile.
Like Anthropic's MCP for agentic tool use.
Exactly. And it's interesting how much innovation is bubbling up right at the boundary between pure research and product development.
Like Deep Research or Notebook LM, that cycle seems faster now.
Yeah, translating breakthroughs into actual user-facing stuff much quicker, which just accelerates everything.
Okay, so revisiting the value stack question. Where does the money get made?
Well, they definitely acknowledge the infrastructure guys, like NVIDIA, foundational, critical.
Can't do it without them.
Right. But Sequoia still believes the lion's share of the value capture. It's going to be at that application layer.
Where companies like Harvey, Open Evidence are delivering direct customer solutions.
Yep. And they expect competition there to get really intense.
Which leads nicely into agent-first companies and these vertical agents.
Right. We're seeing that first wave of killer apps emerge, and lots of new companies are being built around AI agents from day one.
And the big prediction for 2025 is the rise of these vertical agents.
Yeah, agents hyper-specialized in specific domains, think cybersecurity pen testing or DevOps troubleshooting. They think these could potentially outperform humans in those narrow niches.
Because they have that deep, focused knowledge.
Exactly. Laser focus.
Now, with AI making code generation so much easier, this abundance era of code.
It raises questions, doesn't it,
Right.
about quality, the potential for AI slop, as they put it.
Yeah, which makes human taste, judgment, discernment even more valuable.
That seems to be the implication. As generating stuff gets easier, the ability to curate, refine, apply that human touch becomes the scarce resource and therefore more valuable.
Looking even further out, they see today's agent swarms, agents working together, evolving into a full agent economy.
Right. Not just swapping info, but actually transferring resources, doing transactions, building trust.
But still human-centric.
That's what they emphasize. Humans and agents collaborating closely.
Okay, but to get there, some big technical hurdles need clearing.
For sure. First, persistent identity for these agents. They need memory, consistency, personality almost, to build trust over time. More than just Argo or long context windows. Real learning.
You need your agent to remember what you talked about last week, right?
Exactly. Second, communication protocols. Like TCP/IP for the internet, we need standards for agents to reliably talk, trade value, establish trust. They mention MCP as one effort there.
A common language and rulebook for agent interaction.
Yep. And third, security and trust. Hugely important. If agents are doing real things, making transactions, You need robust security. That could be a whole new industry itself.
And it's not just tech challenges. We need to shift our mindsets, too.
Right. They talk about the stochastic mindset, getting comfortable with the idea that AI is probabilistic, not deterministic, like old software.
Meaning it might not give the exact same answer every single time.
Pretty much. We need to expect some variability. Then there's the management mindset.
Learning how to manage AI agents, understanding their strengths,
Or
weaknesses.
hopefully without doing year-end reviews for them. But yeah, guiding them effectively.
So the promise is more leverage, but also maybe more uncertainty.
That's the trade-off. Greater ability to get things done, but maybe with less certainty, more complexity to manage.
And the really long-term vision, networks of these neural
Right.
networks.
Yeah, individual agents and processes merging into these vast, interconnected, intelligent networks, fundamentally changing work, companies, the whole economy. Unprecedented leverage.
Wow, okay. That's a lot to process.
It really is.
So for you listening, a few key takeaways seem to really stand out from this Sequoia analysis. This AI revolution is happening fast. Huge opportunities, especially in those specialized vertical applications.
But the basics still matter. Good business fundamentals are key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you also need to grasp the AI specifics, like that difference between vibe revenue and real value.
And the future seems headed towards these sophisticated agents, maybe even a full agent economy.
Which needs new tech, new infrastructure, and new ways of thinking from us.
Which leads to maybe a final provocative thought for you to chew on. As AI does more and more, particularly something like coding, as we hit this abundance era, what human skills become truly premium?
Right. What's left when the machines can generate so much?
Could it be things like taste, nuanced judgment, real human insight? Maybe those become the scarcest, most valuable assets in this new landscape?
Makes you think, right? We've really only just scratched the surface here of how profound these changes might be.